and I appreciated every fucking fern in an urn.
It's like Merce in a purse.
Mm-hmm.
It's time to take A Therapeutic Dose, a prescription-strength reality TV podcast that explores the intersection of reality TV and therapy. Possible side effects may include entertainment, strong emotional reactions, and/or laughter. Here are your hosts, Ramona Ramirez and Margie McGee.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to A Therapeutic Dose, where we meet at the intersection of reality TV and therapy. I am Margie McGee, and with me, as always, is my dear friend and co-host.
Hello, I am Ramona Ramirez. Margie, it's lovely to see you.
It's lovely to see you, too.
I love you so much.
I love you, too. We're both having a go of it this morning.
Yeah.
Ramona's nauseous. I'm fielding crazy phone calls. There's a lot in the mix this morning.
There is. I'm not stoked. It's raining again. It's like we've turned into fucking Portland or something lately, and I'm not into it. This is not what I signed up for. But the silver lining is that, yes, we need the rain. Always California can use the rain. I'm fine. It's not about me. The weather knows what the weather needs to do.
Yes, but it's gray and rainy here too. So which of course we desperately need it, obviously, but it's just, it's weird. I don't know.
It's weird, man.
It's a weird morning. What are we going to do?
It's a weird time. It's a weird morning.
Yes, all of the above.
Yep. So let's bring a little distraction to the people.
Let's do it.
And to each other, for crying out loud. Let's shift this morning, if it can be. We're here to talk about season 14, episode 10, called Sweet Home Augusta.
Reba, baby.
Reba.
The debut of Reba. Or I guess not the debut. I forgot they gave us that flashback where we'd seen her before.
Damn, dude.
She was ice cold.
I'm perplexed. Hopefully more will be revealed. Yeah, I stayed off of Reddit a lot yesterday, which is, pat myself on the back, literally. But I'm eager to read what the discourse is on her appearance the other night, because it was stunning. I was stunned, and not in a good way. I felt a lot for Garcelle in that moment. Like, that was wild. And I loved that Garcelle didn't do what I would have done in my less recovered child of an alcoholic way, which was immediately, like, take it upon me. Like, I fucked up. I offended this person. I didn't get her the right thing. What am I doing? I'm wrong. I'm wrong. I'm wrong. And it wouldn't have been anything about Reba. So I just loved seeing Garcelle just be Garcelle, you know?
Yes.
It was inspiring.
And even in that initial meeting when she hugged Garcelle, but then told Kyle, "Oh, you're so pretty." It was like, oh my God, this is so cruel and microaggressive, maybe?
Yeah, okay. There were a couple microaggressive things that happened.
Yeah, it felt like
this episode.
I just, like, my system was like,
No, and if your system is like,
yeah. Then I imagine Garcelle was like, oh.
Oh, yeah.
Like,
I mean,
brutal.
It was just, oh, God. And I wonder how Kyle reacted. Like, I wonder if she was like, oh, yay, mommy approval.
That's
approval
what it
from
looked
a
like.
mommy.
That's what it looked like, because she got all, like, cute and meek and was like, thank you.
Yeah, I was
like, oh.
Yeah, you know what? This whole episode, her coy act in Augusta, her coy act with Mauricio, I was not into it.
Yeah.
I was a little grossed out. Oh, damn. I really thought I might have compassion today for her, but oh well. Not perfect yet.
Oh, well, not perfect yet. She really is a practice for you and I, and oh, well, not perfect yet.
You know, I guess I'll just kind of talk about what are my antidepressants right now, because it's relevant to the conversation we're having literally in this moment. So part of why I stayed off of Reddit yesterday is because I was able to do ketamine at the doctor's office. And wouldn't you know it, there I am telling Kyle to get out of my trip. I was like, Kyle, get out. I don't want you to ruin it. You don't get to ruin it. And my therapists were like, who's Kyle? I'm all, oh, that's Kyle Richards from the Real Houses of Beverly Hills. Jesus Christ. Like, you know, all roads lead to Bravo. And lest anyone think I'm just making this shit up about how triggering this woman is for me. Like, enough to show up in a medicine I use to free myself. Maybe I was like, I think I texted you about it and you said maybe you're exercising yourself of Kyle, and that was part of it. And also all roads lead to Bravo. And also, like, that's why this is why we do this podcast. These women, for the most part, we're dealing with women on The Housewives, some of their behavior trigger me and give me reason to think about, practice, notice, observe how their behavior affects me and my emotionality. And it's not that I'm giving all of this weight to The Housewives. Like, I still enjoy the escape of Bravo, and Lord knows getting a bird's eye view into Sutton's other house, just like, yeah, like I love it. I love it. There's certain, like, I get the same thing out of Bravo that everybody else does. It's just that it goes a little deeper when the behavior hits too close to home. And that's how I watch Bravo, through the lens of someone that's been in therapy for being an adult child of an alcoholic, for being someone with an eating disorder, being someone with depression, anxiety, PTSD, you fucking name it, ADHD. It's the only way I know how to watch Bravo, to the point where she showed up under a therapeutic dose of ketamine. I can't control the shit that comes up.
No, and the world is well populated with housewives. Wasn't Lisa Barlow a visitor?
Lisa Barlow was a visitor.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe earlier, I think at the beginning of last season, she showed up. What the fuck?
I mean, but I think I said in the text, like, maybe they're teachers or the healers, like you're ready to be healed of whatever the Kyle wound is,
Oh,
so she comes
yeah.
front and center, because there's no more stark icon of what's wrong or what bothers me or whatever than Kyle. So
yeah, absolutely.
She's hard to ignore.
She's really hard to ignore. It was just interesting, and also made me laugh. My point is, this is season 14, episode 10, Sweet Home Augusta. And we start with a very stark memory lane flashback. Dramatic opening, 2016. We see there, I can't remember when Dorit joined, but maybe that was like her first or second season when they had was that PK's birthday? I know that they had a birthday party, and I know that didn't they also have an anniversary party? I can't remember. Was that his birthday party?
I can't remember.
I can't either. It was the one on the boat, right? Was it the one on I know that they had a yacht party, and then
they had the reveal of
the Boy George party. Oh, yeah. God. That was when I was first like, man, these people are sus. These people are sus. My point is, at the anniversary party, there was so much mutual fondness and devotion expressed on both of their parts when they were giving their toasts. Then we see the Beverly Beach fashion show, where she was like an overjoyed puppy to see her husband after the show completed, her fashion show. Then it was like her wedding line when she was showing him stuff. And he says, if we renewed our vows, I'd want you to wear that. Then we see the robbery. Then we see him calling her PTSD obnoxious. And all of this showed me that, as repugnant as I find PK, Dorit really loved him. And we also saw how his disease progressed, because that was almost 10 years ago. And it is a progressive disease, alcohol use disorder, alcoholism, substance use disorder, whatever you want to call it, it is progressive. So in those last 9 years, he continued his spiral into the behavior and just such emotionally abusive treatment that some alcoholics are capable of. And it's just like, God damn. It really just, so many things that she talked about, the revelations about PK were just heartbreaking all over this episode.
Yeah. And it really did seem like the robbery was the turning point, because there were all these like public declarations of love and like private kindnesses. And then they show the break-in, and then a switch flips in him, and he's just completely impatient and harsh and unkind and absent and awful.
Wonder why.
Yeah.
I wonder why. I can only speculate.
That triggered something, whether it was that he had something to do with it or not. Like, it clearly, at least the way this was edited, it appeared that was a big turning point. And then there's some really solid editing in this episode. They cut from a PK saying, when I first met Dorit, she was not as quite as high maintenance as she is now. And then they cut to now, Chiron on the screen. And we're at this dinner at Kathy's, which is where we end the episode too. And Bose asks, do you think he still wants to be married to you? And Dorit says, no, I don't. But I know this, if I have to go to war, I will go to war. Once you get to that headspace, it's not going to be easy to pull me back. And then we hear Erica say, you got to get out. Then we roll it back 1 week earlier. But that was an intense opening. And then this whole episode just felt like a requiem for marriage. It was just like all of these different phases of people divorcing. It was like a Christmas carol for divorce. It was like the past, like Erica and Sutton and how that they both still carry their divorces with them. Kyle, who's presently going through it and not having the easiest go, and Dorit, who is clearly, this is in the pipeline for her as well. So.
And it just made me realize, like, Garcelle, divorce. Bose, divorce. J-Till, divorce. Sutton, Erica, like everyone except for fucking Kathy Hilton of all the things.
Yeah.
And I am convinced that Kathy and Rick are still together because
Money.
money, but also like they don't seem deep.
No.
They don't seem deep. I know she said we grew up together. I put that in quotes. I don't even know if we've ever seen him, which is totally his prerogative. He does not need to fucking show
we
up.
saw him like once, one episode.
Lord knows producers are probably just so fucking thrilled to have the spectacle that is Kathy Hilton on the show that they're probably like, you don't have to bring your significant other on if you don't want to. You just come, you let us see you get your body makeup and your fucking IVs and your little makeup room. And that's all we need from you. Come in, talk about being Chinese circa 3000 BC.
Oh my God, that was insane. It's
call
so crazy.
PKPJ. Like,
Oh my
I will get
God.
there, but I don't, there's a reason why. I don't know. And I could be like a dick, and obviously I'm speculating. It's just that sense I get that they're not really, I don't know. I could be wrong. It could be the best marriage in Hollywood. Who fucking knows, man? Who knows?
I mean, it does seem like I think it's just like investment bias is basically what I took from her answer as to like, how do you stay together? She's like, well, we started young and now we're rich. And so if it's not terrible, why end it? So great.
Did he make his fortune before? I think that he was already a Hilton because I believe his dad, Conrad, was the man that started the Hiltons, the Hilton hotels. So I think that
she came into
I think
a fortune.
I think that actually has been discussed as far as their mom goes, Big Kathy. I think that Big Kathy was like, okay, great. Kim.
Oh yeah,
actress.
She had them target.
Yeah, she had them target wealthier men. And so, okay, Kathy, white by hands, she's good. Kim, she's an actress. I wonder, Kyle was the baby of the family, right? So maybe it was just like, whatever, we'll see what happens with Kyle.
Yeah.
These two are taken care of in totally toxic ways. Like, that's just, I would never be like, Leo, go get you a rich wife. You know what I mean? Go get you a rich partner, whatever. Oh, God.
But it was a different time, and they came from a different place. Like, I imagine Big Kathy probably valued financial security more than anything,
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I don't know. That marriage, I don't know. I find Kathy really difficult to watch on screen. I'm really not enjoying her at all this season. So
remember what Erica's tagline was? I'm an enigma wrapped in something and cash.
Uh-huh.
I mean, like, Kathy is the true, I don't know if she's that much of an enigma, though. She doesn't it kind of seem like what you see is what you get? Or is it just, I don't think we're seeing the depths of her diabolical capacities. She's an enigma in a lot of ways to me. She's wrapped in cash, too.
She is wrapped in cash, without a doubt.
Drowning in that cash.
Oh, my God.
Damn. Speaking of cash, we come to a little story, a little blip. Martin Ballard telling Erica Jane her redo is going to cost around $37,000. And Erica says, well, I don't have to go hook on Sunset. Hey, bitch, we know how this shit works. Like, he's giving this to you for free so he can get some publicity. You're getting your house redone. Like, we're not dumb, Heather Dubrow. I'm not a stupid idiot. Ooh, I'm triggered. When people assume that I'm a dummy, I'm going to get hot.
Yeah, I did wonder if maybe if he gave it to her for a deep discount or something, because I feel like Martin Lawrence Ballard probably charges $37,000 just to like
Consult.
enter your space. Yeah, it just
Yeah.
didn't seem like a lot for a remodel, right?
Yeah.
Or am I?
I don't know, or maybe that was just they were just discussing the finder's fees for the shit that he
Who
sourced for her
knows?
place or
Yeah.
a deposit. Who knows? Who knows? All it was is that it was annoying.
It was annoying.
It was annoying. Yeah.
And he has like the most cartoonish interior designer voice ever. He's like,
He
"You're
is
total
a
for this."
cartoon.
He's hilarious.
Such a good way to describe it. Full
So
cartoon,
strange.
man.
We're back with Kathy, who is FaceTiming Bose, and she invites her to dinner and says, I thought it'd be nice to have you, Erica, and Dorit. And at the beginning of this episode, I was like, what? What does that even mean? Later, we come to find out everyone else is out of town. And then Kathy this was another moment where I was like, is this a microaggression? Because it feels gross. She asked Bose, who's wearing a 2-strand necklace, Kathy asks, are those puka shells or pearls? And Bose says, after a beat of silence, she's like, these are diamonds, baby. And I was like, I feel uncomfortable. Something's weird. So it just felt weird.
I put down the same thing. I was like, this is the first of the microaggressions here, but yes. And then the like, oh, like we don't usually see Kathy Hilton shocked or taken aback on any level, mildly, majorly. That caused a reaction in her.
It did.
To see diamonds as big as pearls or puka shells. My God.
Puka shells. That was just so like, oh my God.
I looked at Josh. I'm all, did you fucking hear that?
Puka shells. Come on.
Puka shells.
Lord.
She's never asked anybody else if they were wearing puka shells.
I haven't heard the word puka shells since like 1997 when Sugar Ray wore them. You know what I mean? It's just such a strange, it's a strange assumption for a piece of jewelry. It's just a strange assumption. Or maybe her eyes are that bad. I don't know, but I felt weird. And I was like,
I felt weird too.
Let's get out of here.
Yeah, exactly.
And then Garcelle comes to Sutton's, and Sutton explains she had an ulterior motive for inviting Garcelle over, which is the crux of the episode. She invites her to Augusta to meet her mom, Reba. And Garcelle says she's excited about Augusta, but I'm a little worried about meeting your mom, and rightly so.
Dude. Not before we saw the full bar setup, and it looks like it's the morning. I don't know.
Oh my God. It's just, Sutton throughout this is just Suttoning full bore.
Full roadies. Yeah.
Yeah.
100%. Yeah.
It's probably why she wanted to fly at 4 a.m. because then she's like, well, then I won't have a drink until 10 a.m. LA time because that's when they touch down in Augusta. I don't know.
Oh my God.
It's weird.
And then in Sutton's confessional, we learned something really fucking heartbreaking. Just heartbreaking. We learned that Reba still lauds Sutton's ex-husband, Christian, but she doesn't laud Sutton in any way, shape, or form, it sounds like. It was terrible. And no matter how old you get, you still want your parents' approval,
Clearly. And Sutton said that she's been in a bad place with her mom for the past 10 years. And she says, my mom still really likes Christian, but I don't know if she really likes me. And I don't think I ever made her proud or happy as a daughter. And so she's going to take this one trip to solve it all. But she said—
Such is the magical thinking.
Oh, yeah.
Of being an untreated child of, well, Sutton called her a narcissist when she said, okay, we're going to go back and get a drink. We're going to go back to my house and get a drink.
Again, at like 11 a.m.
Yeah, like I don't know. I
think we know.
But yeah, we probably do.
Yeah.
We probably do. So it was heartbreaking. It was
very sad. And Sutton admits that she's been carrying resentment of her mother's praise for Christian, especially like after the divorce, which makes a whole lot of sense. That Sutton tried to start this new life for herself, and her mom has never been complimentary of her store in West Hollywood. And she said, give me some praise. And it's like you're saying, it's the hardware store for milk, though. Like that's what I kept thinking. I'm like, oh, Sutton, she's never going to give it to you. If she's like 82 and not yet forthcoming, beyond not being forthcoming, she's ice cold. Like
Ice
that
cold.
flashback we see later, it was just like, oh my God.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
I'm not sure about the origin, like I'm just wondering, that's why I want to get to Reddit. I want to see what the discourse is and if anyone has any theories as to what makes her behavior like this. And I think to what you spoke about earlier with like Kathy being from a different generation, Kathy Hilton and Big Kathy, Reba is of that generation. Plus, like, I imagine in the South, it's like really important. It just feels like on the West Coast, yeah, everyone followed the norms of like, get married, find yourself a husband, and then you're going to be okay. I'm not saying that the West Coast was free of that bullshit. But what I'm saying is that in the South, she's an elder baby boomer, Reba. I don't know what 82 years old even is,
Yeah,
what
that's a
generation that
boomer.
is, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like Christian, and he became so successful. So, Sutton, what must you have done to let go of such a good man? I just assume that's what she's thinking. That's what she's giving off.
Yeah, that whole
Anyway.
thing of not being acknowledged as like a whole person after your divorce. Like it
Mm-hmm.
feels like what may have made Sutton feel worthy in her mom's eyes was that she married a good man. And then when that ended, it's just been an uphill battle, it sounds like. So Garcelle
Anyway.
is right to say we need some backup. And this was a weird choice. I thought they were going to call Jennifer Tilly, and then it's Kyle. I was like, huh?
Well, I watched the after show. Jennifer Tilly was supposed to go, but then they had to
Oh.
change the dates of the trip. And Jennifer was going to be in Italy, so she could no longer go.
Love it.
But yeah, Kyle, I was like, boring. Why? And I just felt like now it's like with Sutton's thing, they've both lost their moms, and that's why. I don't know, man.
Yeah, I don't know. It was a good attempt to try and cover that, but that makes so much more sense. That because I wondered if something had gone wrong with Jennifer Tilly, but clearly just a scheduling issue. So Kyle slots right in.
Can't recommend the after show enough. I don't know when it's on like Bravo proper or if they just air it on Peacock, but if you have Peacock and that's where you watch your housewives, they're only 15 minutes, maybe a half hour, I don't know. But they're insightful. They're chunky.
I mean, I was glad that Kyle was not in Beverly Hills because it gave Bose the opportunity to ask Kathy, like, hey, everyone says your sister is honest and wonderful and friendly, but boy, my experience is that she's cold.
And petty.
So,
Yes.
yeah.
Yes. But we digress.
Yes.
Kyle's actually shocked that she's been invited. And of course, she had to ask who else. And she tried to make it like, so I'm not really interested, but who else was invited? Oh, okay. I was just,
Ridiculous.
so lame.
Sutton basically explains that she would like to get to a place with my mother where I don't feel awkward around her. And that is a tall order this deep into life. And I would say one that requires therapy more than a girl's trip, but like, what do I know? I also do think there's value in bringing your friends to kind of bear witness to your parent, because it sounds like nobody's really spent time with Reba. And so maybe this can help Sutton. Her friends can help her say, like, don't, like what Bose and Erica do for Dorit at the end of the episode, by just saying, like, here's what's real and you need to deal with reality. Maybe these two friends can help Sutton see, like, you're never going to get this from her. So start appreciating it elsewhere because this lady's never going to applaud your boutique.
I also wonder if it's part of like, do you see this? Do you see I'm not crazy? I'm not making things up. This is how it
Yes.
is. I'm not being dramatic.
And it sure was. That lady entered, and right away it was just like hit after hit after hit after hit. And then she's like, and now I'm going to go drink. And I was like, oh my God.
Yeah. I would have been so fucking stoked if someone had brought me a scarf from Bergdorf or Saks or Neiman's, wherever she got it. It was wrapped beautifully. It looked like a beautiful scarf. And
was
she was
just
just like,
thoughtful.
what do I do with this?
And she was so
Yeah.
weird opening it. Like, but it
So
was very,
weird.
I'm with Garcelle. I saw a lot of Sutton in that exchange when she was like, why are you laughing? Is this a joke? You know how Sutton gets all pissy? Remember when there was like the joke where, was it Kathy who ordered martinis filled with water or something? And Sutton was furious and needed to know who was in on the joke and like just ruins everyone's good time. It was a very strange moment.
I feel like that's more paranoia. I feel like that's more fear of being laughed at, being the butt of a joke, I feel like that's more of insecurity popping up
For
versus
Sutton and the mom, or
like the mom probably felt like she was being made fun of. I know that my mom, who's nothing like Reba, my God, sometimes she wants my sister and I to make sure, she wants clarity from my sister and I that we're not making fun of her, that she's not the butt of a joke. That's how I saw it. Like they were just scared. They were just scared that they were being made fun of or talked about behind their back. Not projecting at all. Not even a little bit. Not even a shred. Not even a shred.
Oh.
Garcelle projects and says, "You need to be gentle too." Sutton is all, "Trust me. Trust me, I don't need to be gentle."
Yeah,
She's the
not with
expert.
Reba. Then we have Bose, who arrives at Dorit's, and they briefly talk about how they had fun at Garcelle's Oxnard Beach Day. And Dorit says she was annoyed with Sutton interrupting her when she was talking about Jagger asking about divorce. Sorry, what?
No. I just wanted to say, on the after show, she said exactly what you said.
Which is
She's-
what? Oh,
Sutton said exactly what you said. "I wanted to go because Garcelle was waiting. And she's my friend." She literally said, "And she's my friend." Just like you said last week, she's my best friend. We need to respect her time. It can take a long time to get there. We need to go. We can talk about it in the car. That's exactly what they said. So I was happy to validate you.
Oh,
Not that
well,
you needed validation, but yeah, that was
always.
Sutton's thinking.
Drinking it up at any chance.
So you were right about why Sutton made that choice.
Yeah, it makes sense. I mean, if you know the drive to Oxnard, you know that's what that was. And Bose asked if Dorit has told PK about Jagger asking Dorit if his parents are divorcing. And Dorit says she sent PK a long text saying she'd like to get back to a more amicable place where they can co-parent, and got no response. So she sent him a text saying, "Our son has asked if we're divorcing. Can we work on finding a way to start addressing this? Because it's obviously going to continue to come up." And she got no response. And the next day she wrote back, "Really, PK?" And he wrote back, "I'm at a friend's wedding. Have a nice day."
Oh my God. Ice cold.
Oh my
Hateful.
God.
Hateful. Not clean. Not clean behavior. Not
It's
clean.
So it's violent. It just is. This is about your son. Oh my God. But he's so fixated on hating Dorit that he can't even see that this is a conversation that has to do. But clearly Dorit later tells us that he would disappear for weeks and not even bother reaching out to the kids. So like he doesn't consider
He
them.
doesn't care about those kids.
No.
He doesn't care about those kids. What a
Heartbreaking.
dick, man.
Oh my
Yeah,
God.
it's emotional fucking terrorism.
It is. It
Yeah.
really is. I have nothing to do with that relationship, and that knocked the wind out of me. I was like, whoa,
Yeah.
that's so intentionally mean. He's not.
So intentionally mean. He's got a lot to prove to me. Obviously not in real life, but just as a viewer, as a person who's experienced living in an alcoholic home, he's got like a lot to prove to me. And I know that his sobriety is brand new. I've never experienced someone whose sobriety, not dry drunk, not just the absence of alcohol, I mean sobriety, like getting to underneath why you had to drink. I've never experienced someone be that ice cold from the jump. It's usually like that pink cloud in the beginning.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. I don't fucking know. Maybe I'm way out of my bounds here.
Yeah, he's quite something. And Bose just warns Dorit to be prepared when PK returns from London. Basically, he could come at Dorit with anything, and most likely he will serve divorce papers. And Bose asks what happens if he serves papers this week, and Dorit just says, "That's all I think about all the time." And I was like, get a lawyer.
Get a lawyer. Tom
Don't just think
Wamsgam that
about it.
shit and get everybody in fucking LA.
Yeah, but I think PK already did it. If he sent that 7-page
God.
email that mentioned lawyers, I bet he consulted with everyone, and she'll find someone. And again, he is not making it hard to make a case against him. So any divorce lawyer can take this on. But
yes, he's
but he'll
doing
have
all
a-
the shit. Like he's got emails. He's leaving a paper trail.
But
a digital
he's-
paper trail, but a
yeah,
paper trail.
but he'll have a really good lawyer, and they are vicious, especially in LA. Divorce lawyers are, because they do this all the time, multiple
Right.
times with the same people, you know?
Ay, ay, ay. Then we move on to Keely and Bose at dinner at Boulevard Steakhouse, and they toast to us learning more about each other. And you're beautiful. And she appreciates their love bubble. They're in the goo goo gaga stage. But she says they need to have some conversations, and they're hurdling a lot of things by jumping straight into fertility talk. And then he said, I'm not going to say it. I'm not going to waste your time. And I don't understand that. Yeah.
I don't know what Keely was up to in this scene. I really liked him when we first met him. And in this scene, I was like, everything he's saying is really vague. He's like, a toast to us and your beautiful smile. In the scenes for next week, we learned that one of the things they've hurdled, they went straight from dating to family planning and skipped the part where they said, I love you. That's a fair thing for Bose to ask. At what point do you think I'm wasting your time is like a pretty combative way to like address that.
But you know what?
Yeah.
I'm going to have to ask Josh. I can't remember if I told him about my desire to have a kid. Because again, I met him when I was 38. And I knew at that point, like I was clear, like I want to have a child. And I can't remember if I said that to him before or after we said, I love you. Like we were on the phone a lot before we started our official first date. We would talk on the phone like every night for weeks and weeks and weeks. And I think after we had gone out a couple weekends, I said that, like, listen, if you don't want this, I got to bounce. I can't remember if we said I love you before or after that. It probably was before. If that was something that he wasn't interested in, I wanted to know before I got any more emotionally invested. It wasn't going to work. I was going to have to really stick to my internal boundaries by saying, God, as much as I like you, I can't continue because I'm not going to think I can change your mind. Which goes to show you that my time in, what is it? SLAW, Sex and Love Addicts Anonymous, the time that I spent in SLAW, which wasn't even that long, it really had an impact on me. So, kudos, Ramona.
Yeah.
I don't know if I've ever acknowledged that before. Any hoot. So she's all in her confessional, excuse me, biological clock, what do you mean? Time is of the utmost importance.
Yeah, and that again was precipitated by Keely asking, like, what, is there a timeline? And she's like,
yeah.
are you kidding?
Yeah.
I'm 47. Eggs are getting older and we got to keep it moving, especially because Bose says she wants to be married before having a baby. And Keely says he's on the same page, but that would indicate maybe there'd be an I love you along the way, or maybe they say it for the first time at the altar, or I don't know. And then he said this, which was weird, where he said, I like the fact that you're not pressuring me. It's allowing me to move at my own pace, and that's really important with me. And I just
don't
wrote,
like that one bit.
Yeah, I just wrote, And Bose, this may be her Achilles heel because she's so wonderful and sees everything in every other situation. But in this circumstance, she just says, well, maybe we just don't share a definition of urgency. Maybe we're a couple months apart on that. I'm like, dude, I don't think this guy, I can't tell if he really wants a kid.
I can't either.
And I can't tell if she does either. Like, part of me is like, it's fine if you guys, like she said, it is hard in Los Angeles to date in your 40s and find someone that you connect with. So if you found that person you love spending time together, like maybe there's not a need to put this pressure on it, the baby pressure, because it is such an intense pressure. That will be their whole lives together.
Yeah.
Because she'd have the baby when she's close to 50, and then it will move out when she's close to 70. I was weirded out by this scene.
I was too. And I wonder if that's what she meant last week when we were speculating on why she said she listens to that teeny tiny quiet voice inside that says, I can't remember what she said, but basically she just throws rose petals on top of that voice and says, just let me be in love.
Shit. Yeah.
Just let me be in love. Like, I wonder if I don't think I've ever had a relationship that ended up the way I wanted it to, that started with someone saying, I don't need to be pressured right now on where we are or where we're going. I need to take things slow. I'm talking about that.
To see how their relationship plays out. Like, I notice in the comments on Instagram, he always comments, so clearly they're still together and they seem to very much like each other. But part of me in this scene, I was just like, if you both aren't desperate to have a baby right now, like, it just seems like it's such a huge deal. I don't know what's going on. I felt really unstable in that dinner.
Yes,
And I was
it
like,
was.
don't talk about having children because I don't understand who you are to each other. And it's weirding me out. It
You
seems
know
like a
what?
cool guy first date where he's like, yeah, I like you. And even if I didn't, I'd still say I did.
Yeah,
I was like, is
yeah,
that funny? Is that
yeah.
funny when you're talking about marriage and babies? I don't know.
Ay, ay, ay. It's so emotionally destabilizing. You're absolutely right. That's a perfect word to use. And talk about emotionally stabilizing. Then we move to the Oak Tree shooting range where Kyle meets Mauricio to learn how to shoot a gun. She's in full cosplay, down to her gnarly, stupid boots.
My God.
I mean, honestly, come on.
That
Come
was
on.
excessive. It literally was like a Halloween costume. And Mauricio commented on it. He's like, oh,
Hmm.
wow. I was like, yeah. And it's also like, that would be the last person I'd want to sell a gun to. It's like, oh, you're in full combat gear. I'm
I
sure you'll
know.
handle this beautifully, but
I
whatever.
know.
She's Kyle. She was just in costume, but it was very weird.
It was so
And
weird.
she claims that Mauricio or she wants to know how to handle a gun in case she decides to get one because she's been afraid ever since the break-in that happened 6 years ago or so. And I
Hmm.
guess now that she's alone in the house, she's considering a gun as protection. And I hate guns, so I hated the scene. I don't think it's cute when the instructor's like, slap in the clip like it owes you money.
Yeah,
I
dude.
was like, you are handling a weapon that if she turns it on you, you'll die. Like, I don't find any of this charming. I was shocked that it was a storyline and a scene. It was terrible for sound. There was so much gunfire as they're trying to have their emotional scene. I just hated it. So I just wrote, hate this.
It's terrifying. I remember I went to a shooting range in Burbank because I wanted to add things to my list of special skills on my acting
Amazing.
resume.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember what I wore just because I have a weird thing about remembering stuff like that. I wore a muscle tee and some blue jeans, and I think I wore my motorcycle boots, but nothing was khaki. Everything was blue except for my boots, but I wore them because they were steel toe. I think they made a specific request, like wear the burliest shoes you can, you know? It's fucking terrifying. You just don't realize how loud it is or how strong that pullback is until you're actually doing it. Oof, and even thinking about it, my blood just ran cold. Like, there's nothing really protecting you from other people in that thing, in that situation. And it's loud and it's jarring. And it made me think, as far as like therapy and my whole host of diagnoses, of which there are many, it's so incongruent to me. And I've always been confused. Like, if there's ever an emergency, of which thankfully I've had very few. But if there's ever an emergency, you know, you'd think with my ADHD, which is primarily inattentive, according to my therapist, I am so good in an emergency. Like I know exactly what to do. And maybe it's because there is nothing else going on except for this requires my attention. And that plus the combination of fight or flight is the perfect recipe to just like, I am very reliable in an emergency, extremely. And it turns out that that is a common trait, a common hallmark in women with ADHD is that they're really good in emergencies. And everyone's just kind of like, what? I don't get it. I'm not good at anything else. Can't find my keys on a daily basis, which sometimes feels like an emergency when I'm running late. But I know what to do in other situations.
It's also an adult child thing and like an addict thing of being great in like high stakes situations. You know how in rooms they would always talk about like, I'm great in a crisis, but like if I blow a tire, it's the end of the world. And I'm sure all of these things are all intertwined, but
Margie, 100%. Oh my fucking God, you're right. You know what to do in chaos because you're so fucking used to it.
and
You
you
know
zero in
exactly
on the
what to do.
emergency because you can control it in a way. It's
Oh my
like if
God.
bleeding needs to be stopped, you know to tie a tourniquet. The more like nebulous dramas of daily life are just like, it's too chaotic for someone who grew up in all that severe chaos.
Oh, my stomach dropped when you said that. I think that really fits. I could cry too. Wow. Everything leads back to Bravo, man. Everything leads back to Bravo. So they're done, and I feel like Mo is like talking to her like she's a little kid. Did you like that? Did you have fun? In this like really condescending voice, he's trying to take care of her feelings. He's very uncomfortable while he's doing it. That's my observation. That's my feeling.
I think that's true, but I also think he's trying to figure out how to be around her now. Like, I think this scene was really interesting because he is trying to like be sensitive to her feelings without being her husband. And that after 30 years of being her husband, that must be a really tricky space to navigate. So I think it was a little awkward. And like even when they hugged, she instinctually reached for to put her hand on his stomach, and then she pulled it away. It was just sad. It's just like
Yeah.
rewiring your muscle memory to like,
Yeah.
no, you don't touch this person like this anymore. Like
Yeah. Oy, oy, oy. That's such a good point.
Kyle asks Mauricio how the condo's coming together, and Mauricio reports that in the fridge he just has eggs and he eats canned soup. And I was like, no, you don't. You go to Sugarfish 4 times a day. Like, please, I can't with that. I don't believe you're just like popping a Campbell's tomato and like,
Yeah, that was oddly specific where he's like, yeah,
tomato.
just like tomato soup. And
So
she laughs. I don't know. She's playing with her hair a lot. I just feels like she's so nervous and just wants him to like her, even though she is still with Morgan.
And she left. But that's also part of it is like, I think Kyle, wants her cake and wants to eat it too. Like everybody does, like she wants all the support and adoration from Mauricio, but also be able to live her own life. But yeah, I noticed that too. She was really posing herself,
God,
like
it was
shaking her hair over her shoulders and over her eye. And I was like, okay, dude.
Yeah. And I only recognize this because I have been guilty of doing it in the past.
Of course.
She still wants him to love her.
And she doesn't want him to move on.
No.
It's like she's moved on, but she feels owed his loyalty in a weird way, maybe because he had stepped out prior. I don't know. It doesn't matter. But they're separated now. So now everybody gets to do their own thing and eat tomato soup if they want. And Mauricio asks Kyle how it is living at the house with the girls. And Kyle's in this very like soap opera delivery turns her head and goes, "It's lonely sometimes." And the wind blows a little bit. I was like, oh, Kyle. She made some good points here. Mauricio's in a new place, getting a fresh start, and Kyle is in their marital home with the ghosts of everything that was before. And she says, I'm in the place where everyone was, and it just feels different. And that made me sad because it's true. And then she weeps and he comforts her. And I just wrote, it's sad. Divorce is sad.
It was just weird, though, when she said, it's just weird sometimes. Firearms are going off in the background and she's telling him it's just like this life is just weird sometimes. And he looks at her in confusion and says, it is?
He did? Oh, I missed that.
He said
it must have been drowned out by gunshots.
Probably.
Yeah.
I remember just like, oh, God, I don't think I'm wrong. Because I always, when I take notes, I have the captions on. Because sometimes I'm able to keep up with my writing as they're talking more if the words are on screen. Yeah, he said it is. And I think I rewound it too. I could be wrong, but whew, they're not on the same wavelength at all.
Also, I wanted to ask you, when there was that extended hugging scene and Mauricio's tricep is right in camera and it has a big tattoo on it. Wasn't there a whole thing that he had no tattoos and he was so mad at Kyle for mentioning to his mom that she had 5 now and she was an asshole doing that? But I was so surprised.
Or maybe it's just that he doesn't like women to get tattoos.
Gulp. Maybe.
Yeah.
I mean, whatever happened, he got a big one for a guy who talked a whole lot last season.
My mom was here over the weekend and she, my husband is sleeved for, like his arms are covered in tattoos all the way up to his shoulders, to his wrists. My point is that she has been thinking about getting a tattoo that means a lot to her. My mom did this famous walk called the Camino del Santiago, and you start in the Pyrenees and you end at this cathedral in Spain. So the majority of the walk is in Spain, and it's this famous walk, and it's referred to as the Camino. My point is the landmarks on the way have this very distinct shell design. And she thinks about doing the Camino every day. And she was gone for a month. She did this walk.
Whoa.
Oh, yeah. It's like days and days. And she didn't even do the whole thing. She did a lot of it. And she trained just like someone trains for a marathon. So, like, for my mom to do this every single day, like, you just go to, like, a different hotel or hostel along the way that are only built for the purpose of the people doing the Camino.
Wow.
And it's a spiritual experience for some people. It's a very significant endeavor. So she was asking my husband for recommendations on artists, or what do you think about this design? And because obviously he's the designer that we all have on speed dial. And I told my husband, like, I think about getting just like huge chrysanthemum and peonies on the side where your hip meets the top of your thigh, and it kind of like creeps over to like a little bit of your butt cheek. And something that like no one could see unless I was like in a bathing suit. And he was like, oh, really? And I was all, excuse me? Yeah, maybe. But I was like taken aback. But yeah, maybe men have a weird thing. I don't know. Or maybe it was that the mom was super judgmental of Kyle because she was a woman getting tattoos. Or maybe it's that Mauricio thought that she was going overboard with her tattoo that's like a fucking quarter of an inch big. I don't give a shit. Who cares? I'm
I
sorry.
don't know.
Nobody
No,
called for this.
No, I did. I literally asked about it because I was
Oh.
surprised to see Mauricio had a big tattoo because I thought that was like a whole thing last year.
Yeah.
But it doesn't matter. And then Kyle in a confessional says, I walk around most of my days hiding what a struggle it is. It was like, no, you don't. You've whined about it and used it as an excuse for your bad behavior in every scene of this season so far. So no. But then
and she is with Morgan, and Teddy Mellencamp lives at her house while Teddy is going through her thing with her soon-to-be ex or ex. So, like, shut up. We see
that's
you.
right. That's right.
Yeah.
But she did say, then she goes on, and this made me sad because I think it's actually a quite articulate way of describing divorce. She says it's a very big life adjustment. It is grieving the loss of someone who is still here.
Mm-hmm.
And that is true because you have to reimagine who you are without them as part of your identity, but they're still there. And especially if you have kids, they're very much present. You know, they're in and out of your life regularly. So that's real. You know, part of her experiences are open and honest and real, but other parts are so delusional and insane that I just am exhausted by her.
The ones where she's a victim and so terminally unique, though, those are the ones she's honest about. No one's going through this other than me. No one understands more than me because we're special. We're unique. We still love each other and we're still amicable. Bruh.
They are, but like if you notice, it doesn't make it easier. Everyone is still in pain. And also, Kyle chose it. Kyle's the one who ended the marriage, and not that that means she's not entitled to huge feelings, but when she starts saying, I'm at the house all by myself. Remember when you asked him to leave? Like, what do you mean? Like, anyways. And now it's 4 a.m. at LAX VIP lounge before the flight to Augusta, and Garcelle and Sutton and Kyle are there with this glorious door-to-door tarmac service that they offer at LAX now for the ultra-rich. It's so amazing. I know people who've done it. I have not done it myself, but it sounds fucking great.
Yeah, sure does.
Like 5 seconds before the plane takes off, they just run you over in a town car and you skip right up the steps. They have overhead space reserved for you for sure. Because obviously you're flying first class. You're not in the coach seats if you're doing that VIP situation. But
that's why I watch these shows too, man.
It's a great
I'm not
service.
above watching someone get door to door to first class seats. Hell no.
So great. And yet Garcelle is still whining about not flying private. I was like, this is as close to flying private as you can possibly get. You don't have to go through security.
I thought they were going to fly private too, honestly. It's Sutton.
It would make sense, but it's a 4-hour
better for the environment.
Yeah. It's not too taxing when you get door-to-door service. You're in first class and you know. And Avi and Jubug are there to pick him up at the airport. Cute.
It was so cute.
And Sutton mentions that she's nervous when anyone meets her mom for the first time. And I relate to that very much.
Oh,
and
so do
that
I.
Space of trying to prepare people for what it is.
So do I.
And sometimes it's uneventful, and other times it's, truly god awful. But yeah.
I never prepared anyone to meet my mom. That was never the issue. But like my dad, I don't think I took a breath until the interaction or the introduction was over completely. But it was tense leading up. It was fingers crossed behind my back that nothing would go wrong during, and then like the sigh of relief after. Eventually.
Or no sigh of relief. Like I'm sure I've told you this story 1,000 times, and it wound up being the story that I told all future boyfriends. It was my birthday dinner. I was taking a new boyfriend out with us, and it was going to be his first time meeting my dad. And my dad ordered a wild turkey on the rocks, and the waiter brings a wild turkey on the rocks with like the thinnest, what's it called? The thinnest twist of lemon, like curled and just as a garnish on the glass. And my dad barks at the waiter, if I wanted a lemonade, I would have ordered one.
Oh my
And that
God.
was the tone of the dinner. And I was like, I'm so sorry. And then we were off and everything was terrible. He called the waiter, nurse, asking for more drink. It was just fucking atrocious. But then from then on, I was like, just because I'm telling you to expect gnarly behavior, like now I have a full example. And if I wanted a lemonade, I would have ordered one became sort of the signature story I would tell everyone, because it's not like violent, but it is. It's awful. And it makes everyone in the space feel uncomfortable. Everyone at the table feels like shit. The waiter feels like shit. And the whole night is ruined.
Hyper alert.
And then I wrote, we arrive on the set of Southern Charm, which is Sutton's Augusta property, it's a classic Southern estate.
I loved it. I would have liked some more color choices like she has in her Beverly Hills or Bel Air house. I'm not sure where it is, but it was quintessential. And I appreciated every fucking fern in an urn.
It's like Merce in a purse, fern in an urn.
Totally.
They tour the house and assign rooms. And then Reba comes in with her friend, in quotes, Jim. And this is where we have that interaction we talked about. She hugs Garcelle and then subsequently hugs Kyle and tells her she's very pretty. And Garcelle to Sutton under her breath was like, why didn't she say that to me? And I was like, yeah. It seems pointed.
Yeah, it sure did. So as we talked about earlier, Garcelle bought Reba a gift. Reba is suspect that people are laughing at her and she's being set up for a joke. It's very odd and immediately off-putting. It's immediately like, uh-oh, what's happening here? She's just like, a scarf? And Garcelle and Sutton are like, yeah.
Yeah, and she like folds it up like it's a wet turd and puts it back
weird.
in the beautiful box. It was very weird. And then Garcelle says to Reba, I've heard so much about you. And Reba says, I've heard so much about you too. And Garcelle says what everyone says, like, all good, I hope. And Reba goes, I'm going to see. Okay, I'm going to my house to have a drink. And I was like, oh no. So, and again, that was one of those moments where I was like, is that a microaggression? Because it feels like it really was intended to put a particular person off center, I didn't see her coming at Kyle with anything.
No.
She didn't say to Kyle, where's my gift from you? If she was like really in this playful space, but I don't know. It was just weird.
This is also where Kyle seemed like she retreated into her little girl people pleaser that I'm sure she developed as a coping skill when she was growing up with her mom, Big Kathy. And it was just really itchy. It made me itchy, made me uncomfortable to watch Kyle retreat into her little girl a couple times this episode.
When you're dealing with a personality type like Reba, I also totally understand the instinct to just be like vague and polite and just get through it.
That's true. Just get through it. I understand that. Yeah.
For Sutton's sake, if nothing else.
So they all head into the backyard so they can walk Reba to her house and also take a tour of it. And she tells the ladies she lives in the back house so she can, and I quote, take care of it when they moved to LA for Christian's work. Okay, whatever. Take. Garcelle tells Reba, I love your grandkids. And Reba says, James is weird. And I just thought, man, come on.
And it was without hesitation.
Mm-hmm.
Like there wasn't even a breath between the thought. Garcelle's like, your grandkids are very smart and very sweet. They're smart, but James is kind of weird. It was like, whoa, that was weird.
It was
literally
weird.
And then Garcelle's response to say like, I've got a weird one too. I was like, what's happening? Everyone's unraveling.
I mean, everyone's trying to make up for the awkwardness. She talked about that in the after show too. And I think she talked about it during the episode. But yeah, everyone's just like throwing on their coping mechanisms to get through this interaction with this 82-year-old woman.
Yeah.
Wow.
She is a pill because Garcelle blurts out, I've got a weird one too. And she goes, I know, I've seen him.
How and why?
I don't know. I don't want to know. I was so glad everyone walked away because I was like, don't touch any of this anymore. this lady opened up a being mean to kids segment. And it's like, yes, best that we all just go our separate ways at this point. Go
And
have
not
your
to
drink.
mention, none of those kids are weird.
No,
None of them are weird. Yeah, poor
yeah.
Jax.
And also Reba's weird. If that's
Oh, yeah.
like, I don't know what the criteria is, but just from this scene, everyone's weird, but
Maybe
Reba's
she's
weird.
all, you spot it, you got it.
Yeah, right.
Oh, God.
Truly.
Then we move to Kathy Hilton, where her minions are setting up for her Capri dinner. Carol, who's Kathy Hilton's brand manager, is doling out orders. Dorit, Bose, and Erica Jane shows up, and Dorit and Bose don't know why Erica Jane knows that Sutton, Garcelle, and Kyle, of all people, are in Augusta, but Bose and Dorit aren't. And also, why wasn't Erica Jane invited?
Because she's from the South, so.
Which also production must have, clued someone in, or why would those women be the only ones that Kathy invited? Unless she invited everyone, but they were the only 3 that could attend. I don't know.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter. Who cares?
I don't know. But we go to Sutton, Garcelle, and Kyle entering Luigi's, which is a local pizza restaurant. And I am convinced that my nephew works there. If my nephew goes to college in the area, I have to text him. And he works at a pizza place that's only open 4 hours a day. And I looked up Luigi's, just there's no way. And it's only open 4 hours a day. I'm like, oh my God, I think my nephew, all roads lead to Bravo.
Please,
He would not know what to do. He would not even know what I'm asking him, but I'll ask anyways. Garcelle relays to Sutton that Erica was wondering why Sutton wouldn't bring this trip to the sisterhood. And Sutton said she didn't want all the girls to come because it's an emotional trip for her, which it doesn't seem emotional. It just seems like she wants to bring some people to meet her mom.
I don't know. It seemed emotional to me.
Maybe it will be emotional next week. It does seem like this was the primer week, and then next week we'll get into the heart of what goes on in Augusta. So I suppose that's true. It's just the Kyle factor is just so strange. I think
agree.
that's the piece that I'm like, this would all make sense if Kyle wasn't there, but okay.
I agree. So then we go back to Kathy Hilton's, and they're sitting down. She says she's Italian, Northern, and found out from a lady in Venice who knows everything. Kathy finds out she's part Chinese, 3000 BC. That's how she says it. What?
And God bless all 3 of those women for being like, the fuck? Nobody could even believe it's happening, but whatever. And then Bose makes a nice toast to Kathy. And again, another slick match cut to a toast happening at Luigi's. And then Garcelle asks Sutton how she's doing being around her mother. And Sutton says it's tough. And she says, people say we're a lot alike, but I don't see that at all. And then 5 seconds later, Garcelle's like, you seem a lot alike. So.
Again, the scene made me feel so much for Sutton. As we know, she's my problematic fave. I have no business feeling so much love and acceptance for this woman. I understand that logically. But she says, I've always been a heart on my sleeve person, but my mother, I don't know if she has feelings.
Mm-hmm.
And Garcelle says, having met Reba, 1, I think she was really tough on you because that's who she is. Not that she was targeting you or anything like that. That's just her way. And then I think sometimes I could see you being like that in a way. And a few things about that struck me at lightning speed. Garcelle is really gracious and kind when sharing this observation with Sutton. And it made me really wonder if Sutton feels so safe with Garcelle. Garcelle is almost like a sister to her, it seems like. And you have to feel really safe with someone to hear something like that and not immediately get defensive. I feel like Garcelle really accepts Sutton, warts and all, problematic behavior, quirks and all. And that's part of what endears me so much to their friendship and to Garcelle. And it makes me happy for Sutton, who seems like someone who's kind of defended. Not seems like she has exhibited behavior that clearly shows she's defended. And for Garcelle to be able to kind of get through that and Sutton to receive it, I think that it just speaks to the love that they have in that friendship. Garcelle in her confessional says they're similar in a way that they're both tough. No one wants to inch in and make amends and say, I'm sorry. And when they're gone, you do anything to have more time. And I don't agree with this.
Me neither.
Okay, good.
If it's a great parent, then yes. But if you
Right.
have a difficult parent who makes you feel like shit about yourself, it's not the same.
I have never gotten an inch of. I've gotten remorse. My father has expressed remorse, whether or not it's felt genuine to me, which it hasn't. It's felt, what's the word I'm looking for? Anyway, it's been brief, it's been unspecific, and it's been highly unsatisfying. I have never lost a parent, and I think about this a lot. Like, my dad is getting up there in age. I believe that he is in a state of mental decline, whether or not it was years of drinking, excessive drinking, leaving Las Vegas style drinking at some points, I don't know how much that's affected his brain, but no doubt it has. I don't know. I'll see. I'll see how I feel. I think about it. Like, are there things I want to say? I don't know. I won't have that reaction with my mother. It'll be drastically different when my mother leaves this mortal coil. I don't know how I'm going to feel with my dad, though, but I'm glad that you agreed with me.
Yeah, I mean, I
not glad, but
No.
like I'm glad that you could relate, and
Well,
I wasn't just a monster.
I empathize with anyone who says that because it means they have a parent that they really loved and miss. But I too have not yet lost a parent, but in a way I have. Like, I've separated so much from my dad. I tried for years to have the conversation where we worked through some of the stuff, and that wasn't going to happen. Then we got to this peaceful place where we just loved each other at a great distance, and it feels like the next level of distance will just be that departure, whether it's him or me, who knows who goes first. But of course, it's a disturbance in the force when someone who's been there, you've literally never experienced the planet without that presence here. Of course, once they're gone, it'll be disturbing. So yeah, it's worth trying to make amends if it's someone who's open to it. But Reba, oh my God, with everything she's exhibited, it does not seem like she's someone. Yeah, it just doesn't seem like that's going to happen.
I agree.
Especially that flashback to the store where Sutton is sobbing, saying, I just need you to recognize my achievement. And she's like, can we move on? I was like, ugh.
I mean, she said, it's important to me for you to take this seriously. I felt that in my soul. I mean, there have been times when I felt like I had to beg one of my parents to see me and to take me seriously. And that's a terrible feeling.
And to be met with, okay, shall we continue on?
Exactly.
Was
exactly
chilling. And Sutton in her confessional on the heels of that flashback says she had been so excited to have her mom at the store, and she felt she deserved then and deserves now more support and joy. And we cut back to the table where she's crying, saying it was real hard, just so hurtful.
And that's why I think it was an emotional scene.
Yeah,
I think it's going to get deeper.
You're right.
But Sutton, for as defended as she is, she let her guard down with these two.
True.
And
very true.
I hope that Kyle doesn't use it against her at some point.
It's always a concern. She will have it in her back pocket at the reunion, if nothing else.
I don't trust her one little bit. And then Garcelle says it was just her way. And then she asks the question that I have been asked so many times by my mother, by my sister, by my myriad therapists. What do you want her to do? Like, okay, what if my dad did call me to apologize one day? Would it really give me the satisfaction and the closure that I think it would? I'm not sure. He could apologize, and like, why does that mean so much to me now? Like, what do I think it would change? Like, okay, he'd acknowledge that he had hurt me and that it wasn't okay and he should have done better and that I deserved better. And like, again, if he said that, would it be enough? And I'm not sure words, even given to you in a heartfelt way, can make you feel whole like the way I think it's going to make me feel. I've been asked that question and I have answered that question. And when someone poses it to me, it kind of makes things clear, like, maybe I don't need this as much as I think I do because it's probably not going to change anything. I have no idea, though, because I don't have that experience yet. I'm open to it. I'm not even cautiously optimistic. It's one of those things, like, I don't expect it. If it happens, great. She says she's looking for respect. And I feel that in my soul because respect means that you are being taken seriously. And when I don't feel that my parents are taking me seriously, it's like you kind of like throw your hands up. You're just kind of resigned like, man, what do I have to fucking do
Yeah, it's
to
demoralizing.
take me demoralizing?
Yeah.
Yes. Yes.
And it does
Anyway,
seem like, again, her only value was being married to Christian. Like, that's the only thing that her mom can seem to offer praise for. And when Sutton divorced, apparently Reba's first question was, who's going to pay for all of this? Meaning, like, the house, the car, the lifestyle, all of that. And Garcelle tries to say, well, it was just a mom making sure her kid's going to be taken care of. And Sutton cuts her off and goes, it was about her. She was nervous. Reba was nervous Sutton wouldn't have enough money anymore to take care of Reba in the way that Reba had grown accustomed to in that marriage. I mean, cut to $350,000 a month or whatever it is that Sutton's getting, so everyone's fine. But that's when Sutton says, I was raised by a narcissist and I married a narcissist.
I felt this as someone who has, I don't know if I'm comfortable sharing the details yet. I guess I still have a little bit of that child of an alcoholic thing where I feel like I need to protect him. There was a situation that happened in the last few years where it was lovingly brought to my attention by another family member who I cherish and adore. I was starting to buy what my dad was trying to sell me. And my family member was like, I'm going to tell you something that he said, and I hope that that helps you. I don't want you to think that he's someone that he's not, Ramona. Like, I don't want you to get the hope that I see that you still have. And when he told me, I was like, holy fucking shit. Holy shit. He's a taker. And I recognize that in Reba. She just is a taker. And what can she get? Oh, God, it was just so gnarly, man. It was so gnarly to watch that scene.
Yeah.
So to hear Sutton talk about it,
Yeah.
I could relate, and I didn't like that I could relate. Anyway,
I liked Garcelle asking, do you feel like she's seen you, the difference between being Christian's wife, the homemaker mother, and now the business owner on your own? And Sutton tells us that she got no praise for raising kids or opening a store or anything, while Christian has been showered with praise from the second he entered the picture to present day. So Garcelle says she'd like to have a conversation with Reba, and Kyle warns her off of such a thing, but it appears that's going to go forward. So I'll be curious to see.
Sutton says it's important that my mother take me seriously because it's going to help me move on. And I have also clung to that when I've had conflict with any of my family. And I want my feelings to be taken seriously or acknowledged, just acknowledged. It will help me. And I know we've been taught so many times and in so many self-help or 12-step or therapy spaces, it's like, I know that we've been conditioned to just love ourselves regardless of somebody else's behavior. But I do believe that I am able to move on from certain hurts when I am taken seriously and when I am heard by my family. Damn, dude.
Yeah.
So I got that.
But it is that Al-Anon thing of like, what if they never change? What do you do now? You know, because
Exactly.
I feel like for Sutton, she'll be waiting forever.
Oh, yeah,
Maybe
for
it'll
sure.
happen next week, but like, I don't know. I don't know what Reba's capable of.
And like you said, so Garcelle wants to talk to her mom and kind of bridge the gap. And then in Kyle's confessional, she's like, I'm skeptical. You know, she's clearly skeptical. And I understood that, but I didn't appreciate the way Kyle was communicating that it was meddling. Meddling to me implies it's coming from like ill intentions or just wanting like the tea, you know? And I think Garcelle wants so badly for her friend to get what she needs from her mommy. And she knows the pain of not having your mom there to give that to you because she lost her mom. And she wants to help her friend gets what she needs. This isn't meddling, it feels like. It feels like Garcelle has rose-colored glasses on because she wants this. She wants their relationship to heal. And she's projecting her own pain and experience of what she went through when she lost her mom and how she wishes she could have like 5 minutes more. But I know that Kyle's skeptical, Sutton's skeptical. I appreciate where Garcelle is coming from. I don't know what's going to happen, but I don't think it's going to go well. But I didn't
Yeah.
appreciate the way Kyle approached it.
No, it was kind of shitty. And I'm with you. Like, I don't think I think Garcelle is doing this with the understanding that we're on a clock here. I don't think it's to like long term mend this relationship. It's like your mom's 82 and we have limited time to have any conversations. So if you want to have this one, I will happily step in and try to facilitate it if it's at all possible to have. But there won't be endless chances to address this stuff, you know? So,
Yeah.
or at least not while Reba is of sound mind and body. So it is. It's a lovely assist, and I would be terrified, but Garcelle is a stronger person than I.
Which speaks to like, oh God, it speaks to her wholeness and her confidence in who she is. Like, I loved seeing this side of Garcelle in this episode.
Me too.
I don't know Garcelle, but if I ran into her at a Starbucks, I would tell her, like, I don't know you, but seeing the way you treat your friend, I know you're a safe person. Seeing the way you show up for your family, I know that you're safe. Just know that you are bringing some sanity and goodness to this franchise. You know, I don't know. I know. Oh God, is that parasocial? Is that parasocial, or is it just that? Is it just recognizing someone that feels like she would be a safe space? I don't fucking know, man. God. Oh, I just got insecure. Okay, it's all right. I can sit with it.
Well, and again, we've watched her for a couple years on the show, and she doesn't seem like someone who's putting on a character, you know? So I think you're right. What we know of her, you're right to read off of that. And I think the same, even though this season she's been a little like, you know, this episode was back to the Garcelle that like I really like, because she's been a little like catty and gossipy and mean girly in some of the prior episodes. This is when she seems most dropped into like who she really is.
Yeah.
Of like, I'm here to help and I will bring a scarf and I will accept your weird reception of my scarf. And I will continue to try to bring you and your daughter closer if possible. So
Yeah.
that's nice.
Oh, so we go back to Kathy Hilton's, and straight off the bat, I admired this so much. Like we talked about a few minutes, like at the beginning, Bose asks Kathy about Kyle. I thought it was bold to ask the sister, but again, Kathy doesn't give off vibes like she's trying to protect Kyle from like the goodness of her heart. You know, like
she's just trying to minimize drama in her own life, which is why I think she was like, I don't really know what's going on. I don't know.
Yeah, it was weird. And
also, that pasta looked disgusting.
Oh, I thought it looked tender and delicious.
It just looked like plain shells with lemon wheels on top with like
it wasn't
the
yolky or anything?
and everything. No, maybe I saw it, but it just, they did this whole presentation in the like souffle dishes and they pulled the tops off and it was just like noodles with some lemon wedges on it. And then she barked at the server like, where's the sage?
Oh my God,
like,
I know.
God, this joyless event.
It was so wild.
But Bose, yes, she says of Kyle, I find her to be cold. And Bose says she suspects it's because she immediately connected with Dorit, and because Kyle and Dorit have been having issues, it makes sense, but it's also very elementary school of Kyle.
And then in her confessional, Bose says that Kyle's been petty. And I agree. Like, I think that Bose threatens Kyle because she's the first person to clock her immediately and kind of like push back on that behavior. Like, oh, what is this? This is giving me pause. This doesn't seem on the up and up, you know? And everyone else has kissed her ass. Rinna, LVP and Kyle had a mutual kiss ass of some sorts when LVP was still on the show. But, like, they're also both fucked up, Kyle and LVP, you know? But Bose is clear. She's been around, Margie. Bose has been around the egos of the egos. Men in tech think they walk on water and their shit doesn't stink. And we have learned that so much over the last few weeks, especially. But like Kyle she's she's not the people that Bose has interacted with. She can see through Kyle's bullshit because of that. You're JV, man, and Bose is varsity. You're not going to win. Not that it's a contest, but like you're.
It is to Kyle. That's why she came to Bose's
yes.
bedside after her surgery to show pictures of
Bruh.
Dorit hugging Maurice. It's just Mauricio. It was just so
Maurice. I loved it when Kim would call him that. It was so funny. Anyway, Dorit says that Kyle doesn't open up about her life. And this is when Kathy says, I don't ask her about things because Kyle doesn't like it. And so I try not to bother her. And she says that what's going on for her is traumatic and her marriage. And so she treads lightly because she wants her to feel comfortable and loved. And this struck me more as Kathy wants to not rock the boat or cause friction and not really engage, which I can kind of understand. But shying away from the divorce and the life changes Kyle's going through because you want your sister to feel comfortable, it feels like almost dishonest and irresponsible and not respectful. And I'm not saying that Kathy has to like browbeat Kyle into like feeling her feelings and going through the process, but I wonder if it works both ways for Kathy to not ask Kyle deeper questions, because I don't think Kathy wants to deal with the emotionality of it either. I think that she just doesn't want to be bothered, you know?
I think that's exactly it. I think she does not want to be bothered. Yep.
And then she ends it by saying, she's a Capricorn. She's a Capricorn and a woman who in Venice who knows everything said, I'm part Chinese, 3000 BC, whatever.
Honestly,
dude.
This woman's insane. And she continues her insanity as Dorit reports that her life is pretty shitty right now. And she says when she and PK separated, he was my friend. And Kathy says, well, who couldn't help but love PJ? Everyone pauses and then corrects her because it's ridiculous. And then we get the confessional where Kathy's asked what she attributes her long marriage to, and we have our theories on that. Dorit says of the separation, the idea was that they take time apart to work on the resentments that built up over the last couple of years, post-robbery, it seems. And Dorit reiterates she's protected PK and has not divulged how bad things were getting because she didn't want anyone to think badly of him. And we get a little flashback to his DUI arrest when she says that, well, by the time he got to the police station, he was under the limit. It's like, right, but that means he was over the limit when he was on the road. And so that's a DUI, and that's not great.
And then Kathy says, well, he's a good father, right? And Dorit just takes a beat. She just wipes the crumbs off of her fingers and says, wrong. And then Bo says, well, under her breath. And that, well, I think I rewound it like 3 or 4 times. I just love her so much. I just love her.
Yeah.
And Dorit says that there were times that she thinks he's the best father in the world. And then, is he the most hands-on father? No. Kathy says, I thought you would have said yes to that question. And Dorit says, in the past, I would have. Protecting him, I would. In the reality I'm in now, no. And then she tells us in her confessional, he would disappear over and over for weeks at a time. I put in overtime to put in our kids' heads that their father was trying to call, wanted to see them, and missed them so much. I've protected him at all costs, no matter what, and I don't think he realizes that. I don't think he does, too. I would feel so angry if I were Dorit. I would, what a burden, what a massive thing for her to shoulder. What a hyper responsibility she must have felt. No wonder, Margie, no wonder for years and years she put so much energy into her outsides because her insides were just in shambles. It reminded me the destruction of an alcoholic, what they're capable of, should never be underestimated. It's something.
Yeah.
It's something.
It's
and
heartbreaking.
I also think that being protective of your family is not necessarily a badge of honor or a positive thing, especially in an alcoholic family system. It enables them. And I almost think that, I know that she was using the word protective, but, there's protective and there's keeping secrets. The secret keeping, you don't want everyone to know that you live in a twilight zone, at best, every fucking day of your life. And there's a cloud over your head every fucking day, every minute. That was my experience. But he was an asshole, and she had to control how others perceived him by not telling the truth. lest others judge him and then judge her. Because you feel like there's something wrong with you and your insides.
But it's also it's complex because it's an insidious disease, and I think that montage at the beginning really shows, because those first few images of them, PK getting choked up, like he could barely express in public how much he loved her because he was so overcome. And when she was saying, "My husband, I was just thinking of my husband," running to hug him, like, I don't think you know right away what's happening. So I think you do try to protect, because this can't be permanent. This is just a weird one-off moment in time, and we'll get this under control, right? But they've done everything they can. He's sober now, and he's still behaving like this. So this is who he is, and that is devastating. I mean, I understand her instinct to protect, and I also applaud her just now being like, it's done. I can't do that anymore. But it's heartbreaking because she's still conflicted at the end of the scene. It's so sad. But not before PK gets age shamed by Kathy. I didn't even understand what was happening. Dorit is asked PK's age, and she says he's 56. And Kathy goes, "I thought he was 56 when I met him, and I've known him for years." I was like, what's happening?
And this is exactly what she did at the pajama pizza party with
Right.
Mauricio. She throws these men under the bus for seemingly small things, yet they are superficial, which shows you what Kathy's priorities are. Kathy's priorities are the superficial. She grew up with Big Kathy, too. She knows how important it is to keep those outside appearances, but throwing them under the bus in order to make their friends or her sister feel good is just fucking wild,
it
dude.
doesn't. It doesn't. And that's the thing. Like, you do that when you're in your 20s thinking
Right.
it'll help. It's also like the lack of interest in what is actually going on with Dorit, as if it can be put off by like, well, he looked old anyway. Moving on.
You're right.
It's like,
Yeah, totally. I see that. And Erica Jane and Bose are like visually and audibly taken aback. And like Bose is like, "What? That was some shade, the smoothest shade in my life. Holy shit."
Yeah, that
Hilarious.
was ridiculous. And then Dorit gets into the heart of what's been going on, which is devastating. She said she didn't think he'd be doing what he's doing to her now, which is he sent a 7-page email about finances, threatening child custody dispute, threatening to sue for divorce, and it expects Dorit to take over the mortgage and all home expenses within a month or two. A reminder, a month is 4 weeks after being married for 9.5 years. He's expecting her to shoulder all of those expenses. And later we get clarity that he's clearly trying to hurry this along because the community property law goes into effect after 10 years, ensuring that Dorit would get half and spousal support likely. Erica advises that she get a fucking lawyer and reminds us that this is what happened when people get a divorce. Everyone is at their absolute worst.
And you've been saying that the entire season.
Only because I'm with Erica, I've never seen one, even the ones that start off with the best intentions. I've never seen one go to the finish line without becoming contentious. It's an emotional breakup. It's not, nobody's at their most rational as they dissolve a marriage.
The balls of that man to talk about custody.
Hilarious.
Oh my God.
Hilarious.
Ooh, that lawyer is going to have so much stuff.
I mean, I won't reveal their identity, but a friend went through a divorce and was in mediation, and the husband, who had stepped out, and that was the reason the marriage was ending, had asked for joint custody, and he'd been relatively absent for quite some time along the way. And the mediator was like, all right, he wanted 50-50 split. And the mediator was like, can you just name their dentist and their pediatrician? And he was like, and they were like, yeah, you're going to have to rethink your proposal on this shit. Because like, if you don't know where to take him to the doctor, sir, you cannot have them half the time. So PK's in for it. He can ask for whatever he wants and make all these demands, but mediators, which is likely where they'll start hopefully before he sues her for divorce. But these are skilled people and certainly have the interest of the kids at heart. So if you cannot name the doctor to call if there's an illness or an emergency. You are not the one.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Wow. Wow. Wow.
Chilling.
Very chilling. So Erica asked Dorit, I want to know what you're holding on to. And Bose says, do you still think he wants to be married to you? And Dorit says no. And then Erica says, what are you waiting for? And poor Dorit, she's like, I'm the token idiot wife. And Bose says, you're taking the rose-colored glasses off. And Dorit says, yeah, the rose-colored glasses equal idiot wife. And I thought she was being so harsh on herself.
I know.
Like I could almost cry right now. And this is Dorit that I'm talking about.
I know. That was heartbreaking.
It was, man. It was. And Dorit says they've been married for 9.5 years, and she just found out there's a law in California, and Erica cuts her off and says community property kicks in 10 years. He's trying to divorce you before that.
That'll
and
never
Bose
happen.
is incensed.
Mm.
She says, oh, hell no. Same, Bose. And I was like, in my notes, I'm like, you were right, Margie. You were right.
It's a shame, but and also there's no way they will settle and sign a divorce in 6 months. Like PK could spare himself a lot of pain down the line by not being an asshole and trying to force this to the finish line in 6 months. He's insane, and he will only fuck himself harder by being a dick right now, because the courts will know what he was doing, and they will be generous with Dorit because he will have proven himself to be a greedy asshole.
So it's not when they file. It's when it's finalized. That's how they go by the 9.5.
I would
or
imagine
the 10-year
both
rule.
parties would have to agree to terms, because it's not like you can't just say, I'm divorced from you. I choose that. They can certainly accelerate mediation, but if PK won't agree to reasonable terms, then there's no way. He would have to agree to reasonable terms, and what he is proposing is unreasonable. I mean, there's a way that they can certainly work this out where the divorce is finalized before the 10-year mark, but it will be a much more generous settlement for Dorit than what he's proposing.
Oh my
of
God.
Just like take on the mortgage and all the household expenses. It's like
he's so out of reality. It's just so fucked
he
up.
is. Yeah. And this was heartbreaking the way this scene ended. Erica, again, in another empathy victory here is
Yep.
imparting her experience to Dorit, imploring her to get a lawyer and prepare for battle. Don't delay like I did. Erica says her fear kept her from getting into action sooner. And if you don't make these decisions, life will make them for you. He will make them for you. Dorit says she will ready herself to go to war. But then we cut back into the scene and she says, don't you think I have to be sure that I don't want to go back?
Oh my God.
And Erica says to her, he doesn't want you back. Both of those statements are so true. Like, clearly Dorit is hoping there's some miraculous answer to this, and Erica's completely right. Everything that he's done, everything that he said, it's over. And it's so hard. It's so harsh. It's so sad.
It's so sad. And the pain that was all over Dorit's face, man.
She looked so little. She looked like physically
She did.
tiny, and she looked like emotionally shrunken. She just looked like so fragile and heartbroken, and as she should be. This is devastating.
It's
because this has all
devastating.
happened in weeks. What a whirlwind. It did seem like they were going to at least try to co-parent, but that text message and a 7-page email and crazy demands and trying to force this to a close so he doesn't have to be responsible for her. What an asshole. It's so personal.
It's an alcoholic looking to blame anyone but themselves for the predicament that they're in.
Yeah.
This is why I'm just not, whenever he's new in recovery, I'm just going to shut up and give him the benefit of the doubt with that one. But
I mean, this is not a great look.
This behavior is unacceptable.
Yeah.
It was an intense episode, man. It was intense. Very intense. What
Very.
else did you watch this week, friend?
I watched The Traitors, which I'm just absolutely loving. And Tom Sandoval is meant for reality TV. He is just an idiot, but he's such a great choice for that show. Everyone
agree.
knows he's a non-threat. It's so entertaining. I'm really enjoying that show.
No one takes him seriously, and it's so hilarious
Except himself.
to watch. I know.
He's
oh my
insane.
God. And his look, he just looks like he's just agitated constantly.
There's
Adderall withdrawals.
Yes.
You
There was
think?
some TikTok that someone said that it looks like Tom Sandoval thinks everything that's happening on the Traitors is real. Because every time
my
it's
God,
like,
you're right.
they're dead. And he's like, like he literally looks like he's.
Oh my God.
Anyways.
Oh my God.
And then I started watching Shrinking on Apple, which is really good.
I've
And
heard
it's
about
sort
that.
of therapy centric. It's interesting. It's really well done, I think. And then I didn't watch this, but I started listening to Carl Radke is on Nick Viall's podcast this week. And it's really interesting. I'll be fascinated to see Summer House. Talk about someone who is in recovery. That is a man who is committed to his recovery. He's clear about, they say don't get into a relationship a year into recovery. I made excuses for myself saying I'd known Lindsay forever, but I've learned a lot since that. Like he's really, really,
Oh my God.
it's fascinating.
I love
And
Carl.
he talks about Lindsay with like great respect, even though everything they went through. And he's like, I'm not going to deny her reality, but I know what I experienced. He's like, I don't normally do podcasts because they seem to be what causes the most drama in the cast is people reacting to things that other people said outside of the show. But anyways, he's turning into like a real grown-up, I think.
I know.
We'll see what happens on the show proper, but
he's a stark contrast to PK.
I mean, yes.
Yeah.
In many ways. How about you? What did you watch this week?
I watched the Watch What Happens live after. So I watched obviously I watched Beverly Hills, but after that I watched the Watch What Happens live. I wish I could remember who was her co-guest. Was it Bob from The Traitors? He was also on Watch What Happens live at some point between the last time you and I recorded. And I love Bob H so much. I also watched The Traitors.
Yes.
But I love him. I love Bob. I love him. Anyway, I watched the Grammys.
I loved the Grammys.
I know.
What did you hate?
I think I hated the musical guests, some of them. I know that there's this song that's really popular right now, and it's in a commercial. I don't know what it's called. Young Boy sings it. Yes. I hate it so much that I had to leave the room because I was like,
oh my gosh.
Can we please fast forward it? The song makes me, I have a visceral reaction. And I just had to run out of the room because they were like, not going to fast forward it. My Josh came in. He's like, all right, you can come back in now. And I was like, did it suck? And they're like, yes, it sucked. My mom was like, why are they doing the Grammys right now, given everything that's going on? I'm like, because LA just burned to the fucking ground. And she's like, oh, that's true. So I did love how much money they raised and how much awareness. They were reminding us, we're going to come out of this. Like, we're strong, but this devastation and tragedy just happened. We're in the middle of this trauma, and we're going to focus on uplifting our community. So many of those artists live in LA. That was lovely.
I loved the Grammys. Like, it's literally my antidepressant this week.
Oh.
So that guy's name is Benson Boone. And it was just like, he did a flip. Like, I don't know. There was like a big energy and he has a nice voice. But to me, did you watch anything else? Sorry, I just started.
I watched some basketball. I watched the Lakers.
Oh.
It was the fucking red wedding on Saturday night from Game of Thrones, man.
Oh, no.
Yeah. I mean, they traded Anthony Davis,
who I
fucking love,
the Warriors,
and Max Christie. No, to the Dallas Mavericks. They traded for Luka.
Someone significant just went to
Doncic.
the Warriors, though. Who is it?
I don't know.
Oh shit!
I don't know. My phone started blowing up at like 9:45 at night. I gasped. I was in a funk. I was devastated. It felt like the rug had been pulled out. Okay, I guess I understand why people shit their pants over sports because I took that personally, and I went to the Lakers subreddit. And I get that Luka is a huge, huge acquisition for the Lakers, and I'm excited to see him play. And maybe it'll light the fire under LeBron James's ass to like do what everyone thinks he's capable of, because I don't fucking see it. Anthony Davis I saw, and if they trade Reeves or Hachi or Vando, like I'll riot. I won't. But you know what I'm saying? Anyway, who cares? No one called for that. Please, Margie, what was your antidepressant this week?
My antidepressant was the Grammys, and it was Chappell Rowan's acceptance speech where she talked about, I promised myself that if I ever won this award that I would speak up on getting healthcare and benefits for developing artists, not just the people at the top of their game. That is so brave. She's a queer woman addressing the music industry directly, recording labels, she said. Like, that is so vulnerable to do that. And she's so good. She has the power to take that position and sustain the hits that may or may not come. But I just thought that was so powerful and such a beautiful look at the next generation of courageous artists.
That part
I've
gave me
never,
chills.
I've never
You're
seen
right.
anything like that in my life. Everybody gets up at the Oscars and they're like, we have to be careful about this or that, but they don't put their own ass on the line. And Chappell Rowan called out record labels and said, during COVID, I did not have health insurance and I was being developed by my label, and that's some bullshit. Because look, I'm winning this award right now.
Yeah, that was
shame on you guys.
That was amazing. That was amazing. You're right.
Transformative. I just thought that rocked my whole world. And then Dochi, I've been obsessed with for a while. And she's sober, and her acceptance speech, she's one of 3 women since that award was created in 1989. So again, and she talked about sobriety, and she wept talking about how, I'll cry too. She was like, she said that she devoted herself to sobriety, and God told her he would reward her and show her how good things could be. And behind her is her proud mom. And she just, I mean, that incredible performance, dance-wise, choreography, staging-wise, like I've never seen anything like it. It was so self-confident, so sexy without being like, it was so singular. The only person who could have pulled that off is Dochi. And that to me is like so exciting. Like Sabrina Carpenter's thing was cute, but I could have seen a lot of stars doing that and having a great success with it. Only Dochi could have done that act. And the song is so profound, like she talks about doing drugs and all these things, and her self-esteem's at an all-time low, she's just so honest and amazing. And I don't know, I was so bowled over by Chappell Rowan and Dochi that their performances and the way they used the stage when they were given that time, I just was delighted with the next generation of women. I was like, you guys fucking rule.
Dochi's speech was chilling. She's living the promises that they talk about in the big book. Like, you will have a life beyond your wildest dreams, right? Isn't that what they say?
Yes. And there's all these TikToks now coming up from, the last 5 years when she just got fired from her job and was like, well, fuck it. I guess I can just devote myself to what I do. And then there's one of her sipping wine in the backyard, talking about how I'm just going to be unapologetic. Just fucking in your face, Dochi, no apology. But it's this journey. It was a 5-year journey to land where she did, sober at the top of her game, with a song that, again, nobody else could write, nobody else could perform. It's hers. It's only hers. And it's so miraculous. It's amazing. Art is incredible. I was thrilled watching those two especially.
I loved watching Beyonce win, finally, and I loved watching Kendrick win, miles away from where he grew up. I loved what he wore. Yeah.
The Canadian tuxedo, which is a subtle fuck you to Drake, we think.
Oh, yeah. I love denim on denim. I wear it all the time. Yeah, I was bored in between.
Yeah, that's fair. But, the weekend was all that hype, and the performance was
those speeches that you're referring to were chilling in the best possible way.
I've never seen anything like it in any award show. Everyone does these tepid pitches for causes, but nobody's ever laid their own ass out there. And I just have never been more impressed with someone. She is talk about walking the walk. This girl knows who she is and is all about it. So, yeah.
Did you watch the New York reunion yet?
No, I didn't.
Yeah, it was good. It's 2 parts.
Okay.
It was only 2 parts. They ended it, but there was really no resolution with Bryn, and it was really interesting. There was a lot of breaking the fourth wall, like when they would go into breaks or go into lunch, because Bryn would just leave, and it was the other women to kind of discuss what was going on. It was good. I enjoyed it just for
I'll watch it.
the breaking of the fourth wall. Do you have any other antidepressants?
No, that was it. What was yours?
Well, I literally did ketamine yesterday, which is a huge all-at-once antidepressant. And again, Kyle showed up and I told her to leave because I didn't want her to ruin it. Both of my therapists were there, my ketamine therapist and my regular therapist. She thought it would be helpful to come in to observe and see what comes up because, again, I'm trying to release those not release, but just explore the last kernels of fear and hurt inside of me that I feel hold me back, and they manifest so much as shame, which is a coping mechanism Like, you bring up the shame as a child so that you don't have to deal with the fact that the people that are tasked to take care of you are scary people that you can't trust. You just make up the story in your head that, like, you must be so bad that you're treated like this. It can't be them that are bad. It's got to be me. Shame has been really showing up a lot for me in the last 3 or 4 months. And so she thought it would be helpful. My ketamine therapist and she were the two people that led that postpartum group that I've talked about before. That's how I met, the both of them pretty much. And so I trusted them to be there together observing me. And I did feel like an animal in the zoo, but at least I could talk about it. Because when I came out of it, the doctor who does my shots was sitting there, my therapist was sitting there, and my ketamine therapist were sitting there to welcome me back from my round trip. Anyway, it was
I love
good.
That. The team.
Yeah. And then my mom came to visit for my son's 9th birthday. We had a party for him. It was really fun. And I'd be remiss if I didn't say that Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez gave a live a couple of nights ago. After my son's birthday party, I put on some pajamas and didn't get out of them, I think, until Monday or Tuesday. I was so catatonic from what's going on right now. And my friend, one of my best friends, sent me the link to AOC's live, and she's like, I think this will really help. And it's an hour and 39 minutes, and I watched it while folding my laundry, and it was a huge antidepressant. I don't know if I would be out of those pajamas today if I hadn't watched it. I'm going to link it in the show notes if anyone's interested in watching it. And she gave some good tips, some good action, but she broke down why everything is happening, what Congress is doing, what some of them are not doing, and what we can do. And let me tell you, I have been looking at how the Democratic senators are voting on some of these confirmation hearings, and I thought I had nothing to worry about living in California with Adam Schiff, because I just thought they were all going to be blanket no's to all of these appointees, and they are not. So if you live in a blue state and you think that you don't have to make a call, it is bullshit. You need to call, and you need to keep calling, and you need to watch who they're voting for, and I will link it in the show notes. Enough of my soapbox and lecture. Thank you for listening. And that was it. So a lot, thankfully, because there have been some weeks lately where I'm like, I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know what it's going to be. I don't know what my antidepressant is. So everyone, you've reached the end of another episode of A Therapeutic Dose. I started a Blue Sky for us because I am eventually going to migrate our Instagram to Blue Sky. And I believe that they also have an Instagram-like part of their app as well. If not, I'm going to look for another app that's like Instagram. Leaving Instagram's going to be real rough on my personal account, but I don't know if I can hang anymore with any Meta-branded things. I got to leave Facebook, and I don't know. Anyway, we have a Blue Sky. It's at A Therapeutic Dose .bsky. I don't fucking remember. I'll link that in the show notes too. I don't remember what their end is, but for now you can find us on Instagram at A Therapeutic Dose, and you can always email us at atherapeuticdose@gmail.com with any comments, concerns, what have you. Oh my God, please. Negative, positive, whatever. That's all I got.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, everybody keep taking very good care of yourselves.
Mm-hmm.
And we will talk next week.
Bye.
Bye.
Ramona and Margie are, obviously, not doctors and do not provide medical advice. Their content is intended to be used for entertainment purposes only. It is not intended to be, should not be interpreted as, or used as a substitute for medical advice or a diagnosis of any health or fitness problem, condition, or disease, nor a recommendation for a specific test, doctor, care provider, procedure, treatment plan, product, or course of action.
My mom isn't a doctor.